Amy Slayton, a star of 1,000 Pound Sisters, is unwilling to divorce her spouse due to her profound love for him. Nonetheless, Amy's elder sister Tammy expresses apprehension regarding the connection. She candidly states, "If your husband truly loved you, why is he unable to accept your child? Does a man who is unwilling to assume responsibility for your child genuinely love you? No, Amy. He is being unfaithful to you." Tammy remarked, "You are solely focused on your own affection, neglecting your child. As a mother, your primary obligation is to consider your child." Amy may have hope for her affection, although the truth is there in Tammy's gaze. Love is authentic only when it encompasses not merely an individual, but their family as well. Amy Sullivan stood by the window, her arms tightly clasped around her chest as she observed the evening sunlight cascading over the front yard. The silence in the house was palpable, interrupted solely by the faint hum of the baby monitor on the counter. Gage, her 3-year-old son, was napping upstairs, oblivious to the turmoil within his mother's heart. Nonetheless, Tammy Slayton of 1,000 LB Sisters discloses her greatest fear regarding skin removal surgery following her recent transformation. Tammy Slayton from 1,000 LB Sisters is disclosing her apprehensions regarding undergoing surgery for skin removal following the unveiling of her post-operative appearance. Tammy has experienced a remarkable transformation in recent years. After enduring prolonged challenges with her weight and health, she qualified for bariatric surgery and achieved substantial weight loss. Additionally, Tammy has demonstrated emotional development, confronting personal losses and attaining greater independence. Nevertheless, one final step remains in her transformation, as her significant weight loss resulted in excess skin that could only be addressed through surgical intervention. Following a weight loss exceeding 500 pounds, Tammy's primary focus was on skin removal surgery. While awaiting approval, she disclosed her apprehensions regarding the treatment. An excerpt from E! News featuring an upcoming episode of 1,000 LB Sisters depicts Tammy dining with her family, during which Amanda Halterman inquires about her thoughts regarding the surgery. Tammy responds, "Primarily the pain and the apprehension regarding my appearance post-surgery." She further states that she is accustomed to her current physique with excess skin, and upon awakening after the procedure, she anticipates looking halfway normal from the waist down. It is both frightening and concerning simultaneously. Tammy expresses her concerns to the cameras regarding her emotional state post-surgery, particularly when she observes her body. Showering will also present a new experience for Tammy, as she will no longer contend with excess skin, especially the absence of her belly rolls. Performing even the simplest tasks has been challenging for Tammy, but in under a week, she anticipates perceiving herself in a transformed manner. Tammy's swift weight reduction resulted in considerable excess skin, adversely impacting her mobility and overall quality of life. The surplus skin induced discomfort, compelling her to adopt a bow-legged gait. Her physician recommended further weight loss prior to her eligibility for skin excision surgery. The procedure is complex, necessitating multiple cosmetic interventions, each associated with distinct risks and substantial expenses. Tammy was anticipated to undergo approximately 5 individual surgeries, each spanning several hours, rendering the subsequent phase of her transformation both physically and financially arduous. Tammy feared the pain and recovery associated with a significant procedure. Previously, she experienced profound dissatisfaction with her life, resorting to partying, overeating, alcohol consumption, and vaping as mechanisms to alleviate stress. She once remarked that vaping alleviated her anxiety and induced relaxation. However, her physician cautioned that nicotine use could result in infections and complications post-surgery. Having now completed the operation, it is probable that Tammy has diminished or ceased vaping. Conquering such a challenging habit exemplifies her resilience and commitment to achieving her objectives. The star of 1,000 LB Sisters reduced her weight from 725 to 225 pounds, demonstrating her determination. However, despite her remarkable weight loss, Tammy faced challenges with excess skin. Even basic activities, such as participating in a dance class, became emotionally taxing. After courageously undergoing skin removal surgery, the results are evident. In a recent photograph with her girlfriend Andrea, Tammy looked radiant, her loose neck skin eliminated. Her confident smile conveyed her transformation. She is beginning to feel comfortable in her new body. Nevertheless, she looked at her phone. No messages, no calls, no communication from Michael. 3 days had elapsed since he departed the residence in anger following yet another dispute, this time concerning his increasing absence and the emotional detachment he exhibited towards Gage. Amy had implored him to engage more actively, to at least demonstrate affection towards the child they had once envisioned raising together. However, Michael had transformed. Since Gage's birth, he had grown aloof, as if fatherhood were an obligation he had never consented to undertake. Amy rejected the notion that he did not love her. She held on to the recollections of their initial days, his humor, the manner in which he grasped her hand during their walks in Walmart, the late-night needs he would fulfill by driving great distances when she was pregnant. She convinced herself that this was merely a challenging phase. However, her sister Tammy had a different perspective. "You are deceiving yourself," Tammy had remarked that morning. Her tone was incisive, yet her eyes revealed concern. "If he genuinely loved you, Amy, he would also love your son. You believe you are striving for love, but what kind of love forsakes a child?" Amy recoiled at her sister's remarks. They were painful, as they invariably were. Tammy never tempered the truth. However, this instance, her tone bore a gravity that Amy found inescapable. "He is unfaithful to you, Amy," Tammy stated. "I observed him with another woman outside the diner on Oak Street. I refrained from informing you earlier, but you have the right to know." He appeared joyful, laughing, and holding her hand as he once held yours. Amy became ashen, her lips quivering as she gasped for air. "No," she murmured. "He wouldn't." However, behind the surface, something fractured. Later that evening, Amy sat solitary at the kitchen table. She opened the scrapbook she had been compiling, a compilation of Gage's milestones, first grin, first steps, first words. Michael was scarcely present in the photographs. When he appeared, his expression was detached, his smile contrived. Amy wept, not solely because of Tammy's remarks or Michael's treachery, but because she finally perceived the reality. She had clung to a phantom of affection, a recollection that had ceased to exist. In doing so, she had overlooked the one individual who required her most, her son. The following morning, Amy assembled a small suitcase and transported Gage to Tammy's residence. The antiquated farmhouse was noisy and tumultuous, yet it exuded warmth. Tammy greeted them with open arms, refraining from uttering, "I told you so," and instead silently accommodated her sister and nephew. In the subsequent weeks, Amy commenced her healing process. She initiated separation proceedings, to which Michael offered no resistance. His lack of response caused her unexpected pain, while simultaneously provided a sense of liberation. Tammy, despite her forthrightness, became a steadfast support for Amy. She assisted with Gage, urged Amy to pursue therapy, and encouraged her to participate in a local support group for single mothers. Within that group, Amy encountered other women who had endured comparable heartbreak. Their narratives resonated with hers, yet they also illuminated the possibility of a life post-betrayal that could be not only viable, but also exquisite. After retrieving Gage from daycare, Amy observed her son slumbering in the car seat, his cheeks rosy from play. She smiled. She had been seeking love in inappropriate venues. It was neither in Michael's absence, nor in the fabrications she constructed for herself. It was in the tranquil breath of her kid, in the fortitude she discovered to persevere, and in the unwavering support of a sister who would not permit her to falter. Amy ultimately comprehended that love transcended mere attachment. At times, it involved relinquishment. Nonetheless, on a humid summer morning in Dixon, Kentucky, the Slayton sisters were engaged in their customary disputes. Amy, a mother who was consistently losing weight, was preoccupied with reorganizing her pantry. Conversely, Tammy sat in the recliner, scrolling through her phone with her characteristic skeptical demeanor. Amy shouted from the kitchen, "You need to rise and take action." "I am engaged in an activity," Tammy responded with a sneer. "I am communicating with Jerry. He is en route to this location." Amy halted. She pivoted gradually, drying her hands with a towel. "Jerry? Is that Jerry? Originating from the internet?" Tammy's eyes brightened. "Yes, that Jerry. He indicated he will finally visit and may stay for an extended period." Amy exhaled deeply. Since Tammy commenced her online communication with Jerry, she experienced ambivalent emotions. He appeared charismatic, undoubtedly, and Tammy radiated enthusiasm when discussing him. However, Amy could not dispel the sense that something was amiss. She feared for Tammy's potential emotional or physical distress. Later that day, a black Dodge vehicle entered the gravel driveway. The door opened, and Jerry emerged, tall, broad-shouldered, clad in jeans, a muscle shirt, and aviator sunglasses. Tammy emitted a loud squeal. "Jerry, hurrah!" she exclaimed, beaming broadly. Jerry upped the ramp and entered the house with an air of ownership. He enveloped Tammy in a bare embrace that elicited a joyful squeal from her. Amy observed from the kitchen, her arms crossed and distrust evident on her countenance. "You are Jerry," she stated cautiously. "That is I," Jerry remarked with a smirk. "You must be Amy. Tammy has informed me extensively about you." Amy murmured, "I wager she has." In the ensuing days, Jerry acclimated. He presented Tammy with gifts, snacks, new phone accessories, and even a large plush unicorn she had previously suggested. Tammy was elated. Amy, however, was not. She observed Jerry urging Tammy to revert to detrimental behaviors, consuming fast food, drinking sodas late at night, and neglecting physical therapy. Although Jerry was not unkind, he appeared more as an enabler than a supportive spouse. One evening, when Tammy had dozed off while viewing My 600 Pounds Life, Amy approached Jerry in the kitchen. "Understand that I recognize your concern for her," she continued, "yet it is impossible to love someone while facilitating their self-destruction." Jerry rested against the counter, scowling. "I do not intend to harm her. I merely desire her happiness." Amy's eyes brimmed with exasperation. Happiness does not equate to an abundance of chips and soda. She relies on oxygen and has been hospitalized more times than I can enumerate. She requires support, not merely affection, but also firm guidance. Jerry remained mute, fixated on the floor. The following morning, a transformation occurred. Jerry up early and prepared a smoothie for Tammy, comprising spinach, banana, and Greek yogurt. Initially, she recoiled, but he reassured her. "Babe, we will undertake this together. I desire your presence for an extended duration." Tammy blinked in astonishment. "Are you serious?" "Utterly serious. We may permit cheat days, but not cheat lives." Tammy wept while laughing. For the first time in an extended period, she sensed that someone envisioned her future and desired to be involved in it, rather than merely her present. As Jerry endeavored to amend his behavior and assist Tammy's progress, Amy began to develop a fondness for him. They commenced rolling together. Gradually, with Tammy in her chair, Jerry pushing, and Amy guiding the route with her son in a stroller. One afternoon, the trio sat on the porch, consuming unsweetened iced tea and observing the sunset. Amy remarked, "I did not anticipate you would be suitable for her." Jerry laughed. "I initially felt the same way. However, she possesses an inner radiance, despite her suffering. I simply wish to assist her in illuminating it." Tammy sighed with exasperation. "Ugh, you're being cliched once more." "You are fond of it," he jested, and she complied. Several months later, Tammy had shed an additional 80 pounds. She moved with greater ease, smiled more frequently, and even joined a local support group. Jerry remained present, this time as a family member rather than merely a visitor. Amy occasionally observed Tammy and Jerry dancing in the living room, awkward yet exuberant, and reflected, perhaps a happily ever after does not resemble a fairy tale. Perhaps it manifests in this manner. Nevertheless, on a warm, breezy spring morning in Dixon, Kentucky, anticipation permeated the Slayton household. For months, enthusiasts of the reality show 1,000 Pound Sisters had been awaiting, conjecturing, and disseminating their predictions online regarding forthcoming developments. However, no one was adequately prepared for the moment Amy chose to disclose her remarkable weight loss transformation to the public. Amy perched on the edge of her bed, clutching a diminutive hand mirror. Her visage had transformed significantly. It appeared more slender, her eyes radiated a newfound confidence, and her posture conveyed a narrative of resilience. She inhaled deeply and surveyed the photograph affixed to her mirror, an image from 2 years prior, when she weighed nearly 406 pounds. "This is not who I am anymore," she murmured. At that time, Amy and her sister Tammy were deeply entrenched in their struggle with obesity. Existence was not merely challenging, it was excruciating. Even a short walk left Amy gasping for breath. Tammy, being heavier and more reliant, found it difficult to accept assistance. The sisters frequently quarreled and wept, yet they both understood that a transformation was imperative. Otherwise, they would not reach the age of 40. Amy initiated her journey by consulting Dr. Proctor, a bariatric surgeon in Atlanta. The process was fraught with challenges, including weight fluctuations and 2 consecutive pregnancies. Nevertheless, she persevered with unprecedented determination. She engaged in exercise within their modest backyard, substituted fast food with grilled chicken and salads, and began journaling to monitor her emotions rather than resorting to food. Amy stood before the full-length mirror in her bedroom, fastening a size 16 floral dress, a reduction from size 5X. "Let's do this," she declared, seizing her phone and positioning the tripod. It was time to broadcast live. As the message resonated on hundreds of admirers' devices, individuals surged to discover Amy's announcement. She stood with poise, smiled, and declared, "Greetings, everyone. I have something truly special to share today. This is not merely an update. This is a celebration." She distanced herself from the camera, showcasing her transformed physique. The comments surged, tears accumulated in Amy's eyes, not due to the accolades, but because she finally experienced liberation. Liberation from judgment, liberation from anguish, and liberation from burdens, both physical and emotional. From her residence merely minutes away, Tammy saw the live feed in quiet. She had also made advancements, although witnessing Amy's complete change served as a wake-up call. They had embarked on this trip together, and while she felt a sense of pride, she also had feelings of being left behind. Later that evening, Tammy contacted Amy. "I observed your live broadcast," she stated gently. Amy hesitated. "Indeed. You appeared genuinely joyful. I aspire to attain that state as well." Amy smiled over the phone. "You will. We will do it together, once more, just as we always have." The Slayton sisters featured in a special reunion episode of 1,000 Pound Sisters. Cameras documented a poignant moment. Amy emerged in a striking yellow dress, clasping hands with Tammy, who had also achieved remarkable progress. They conversed about therapy, healing, motherhood, food addiction, and sisterhood. Amy informed the crowd, "I did not merely lose weight. I discovered my true self." The audience applauded. Amy currently champions body positivity and health on social media. She conducts community Zoom sessions for individuals grappling with obesity and has been writing a book entitled From 400 to Freedom. Tammy has also undergone surgery and commenced ambulation without assistance. Together, they demonstrate that although the scale may fluctuate, it is the bond between sisters and the inner strength that truly matters. As Amy concluded her live session that day, she gazed into the camera one final time and remarked, "If I can achieve this, so can you. Persevere." Nonetheless, for years, the Slayton family grappled with their weight, a struggle that was equally emotional and physical. Chris, the brother of Amy and Tammy Slayton, consistently assumed the role of a silent supporter. While Amy pursued bariatric surgery and Tammy contended with her fluctuations, Chris remained in the periphery, providing humor, preparing meals, and attending to others' needs at the expense of his own. However, a transformation occurred last winter. On a frigid morning in Kentucky, Frost adhered to the window panes as Chris sat solitary in the living room, a half-consumed plate of biscuits and gravy positioned on the coffee table. The television was operational, yet he was not engaged. Instead, his gaze was fixed on a photograph of his younger self, clasping his daughter's hand in a park. At that time, he could traverse more than 10 steps without becoming breathless. He harbored aspirations of taking her hiking, instructing her in fishing, and perhaps even experiencing a roller coaster ride. However, those aspirations had diminished beneath the burden of over 400 pounds, an insurmountable obstacle. That was the day he resolved to transform. Persuading himself was the initial obstacle. Persuading his physician constituted the subsequent challenge. Chris had observed Amy undergo weight loss surgery, her metamorphosis both inspiring and fraught with difficulties. Tammy's experience had been even more arduous, characterized by hospitalizations and emotional turmoil. He commenced modestly, engaging in daily yard walks, eliminating soda consumption, substituting his cherished fried chicken with grilled fish. It lacked glamour, yet it proved effective. The family observed the changes. Amy encouraged him, while Tammy provided her brusque yet sincere support in her distinctive manner. After 6 months, the physicians granted him approval. He was eligible for surgery. Prior to his surgery, Chris sat on the veranda with Amy and Tammy. The sky was a profound navy, with stars emerging like timid observers. Amy inquired, "Are you frightened?" Chris laughed. "Indeed, I am frightened. However, I fear dying prematurely and missing opportunities even more." Tammy, unexpectedly silent, gazed at him. "You possess greater strength than you realize. You always have." They required no further words. The stillness conveyed their sentiments. This family had endured tumultuous times, yet this evening, tranquility prevailed. There was optimism. The hospital lights were too bright. Chris reclined on the gurney, clad in a paper robe that rendered him feeling particularly vulnerable. However, as the anesthesiologist neared, he shut his eyes and envisioned his daughter, the prospect of escorting her down the aisle, fishing excursions, and the essence of life itself. The nurse softly instructed, "Count backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8. Chris's convalescence was arduous. The postoperative pain was excruciating. The desires did not dissipate instantaneously. However, each bead of perspiration, every discomfort in his back, and every rumble in his stomach served as evidence of his vitality, that he was opting for life. Amy made daily visits, bringing sugar-free Jell-O and inappropriate humor. Tammy called each night, lamenting her own diet, yet concluding every conversation with "proud of you." Months elapsed. Chris shed almost 100 pounds. His skin sagged in certain areas, yet his smile remained intact. He became a member of a local support group, began preparing nutritious meals for his family, and registered for a 5K charity walk. On a sunny afternoon, Chris stood atop a hill in a neighboring park, accompanied by his daughter, who was laughing with pink cheeks from the ascent. He had arrived, not only at the summit of the hill, but also at the commencement of a new life. He faced her, panting yet radiant. "I told you I would reach this point one day." She reciprocated the smile, tears glistening in her eyes. "And I never questioned your integrity." The trip had commenced, albeit not concluded. Chris had disrupted the pattern, benefiting not just himself, but also his family. His surgery represented not an end, but the inception of a renewed opportunity. For the first time in an extended period, Chris Slayton was not only enduring, he was alive. Nevertheless, Amanda Halterman is not one to remain inconspicuous. Although 1,000-pound sisters initially focused on Amy and Tammy Slayton's weight loss endeavors, Amanda has gradually established her own presence, and her voice resonates more than ever. With a new relationship, a new grandchild, and her characteristic forthrightness that fans appreciate, Amanda is maintaining intrigue both on and off camera. Amanda's life has experienced numerous transformations, yet one principle remains unwavering. She does not tolerate disrespect from anyone. Whether from a family member or a stranger on Instagram, Amanda is adept at asserting herself. "Do not approach me unless I summon you," she cautioned in a recent online retort. Her intent was sincere. Season 7 of 1,000 Pound Sisters illustrates that Amanda's narrative is equally dramatic and captivating as that of her sisters, encompassing hospital visits and her transition into grandmotherhood. Amanda has been involved in the 1,000 Pound Sisters franchise for some time, although her prominence has drastically increased by Season 7. Although she was absent from the initial seasons due to her divorce from Jason Halterman, she has compensated for the lost opportunity with audacious appearances and even more audacious thoughts. Her fearlessness in the face of controversy contributes significantly to her status as a fan favorite. Amanda has experienced numerous intense confrontations with Amy and Tammy, yet she establishes a boundary when external parties intervene. In Season 5, a dispute over a vacation with Amy intensified to the extent of becoming physical. Subsequently, in Season 6, Tammy proclaimed that Amanda was dead to her following a confrontation regarding a property disagreement. Notwithstanding the turmoil, Amanda's popularity has only increased. Her unwavering loyalty and candid demeanor render her a prominent figure on 1,000 Pound Sisters. A new romantic partner is transforming Amanda's life. Amanda has a new partner, and she is openly acknowledging it. In January, Amanda disclosed her relationship with Leonard E. Moore through a TikTok post. Since that time, Leonard has consistently appeared on Amanda's social media platforms. The star of 1,000 Pound Sisters appears more content in Leonard's presence, and fans have observed this change. Leonard appears to be acclimating to the tumult of the Slayton cosmos effortlessly, whether he is seen with Amanda or featured in Instagram stories. Amanda has consistently displayed her emotions openly and is unreserved in sharing this new phase with her followers. This bond is a source of pride for her and has introduced a new dimension to her already complex narrative about 1,000 Pound Sisters. Amanda's year grew even more luminous in May when she assumed the role of grandmother. She shared a photograph of her inaugural grandchild, Carter Lee Wayne Halterman, on Instagram, exuding the pride characteristic of a grandmother. Carter Lee Wayne Halterman, May 7th, 25, 6 pounds 15 ounces. Lolly did not have much time with Carter, however, I am already aware that he has me under his influence. Amanda has selected Lolly as her grandmother name, which reflects her vibrant attitude. The cast of 1,000 Pound Sisters frequently discusses significant family milestones on social media, but Amanda's post was particularly notable for its personal nature. This infant has undoubtedly captured her affection. Given Amanda's character, she will be equally as intensely protective of her grandchild as she is of her siblings. Despite being embroiled in a conflict with her siblings, Amanda remains their most ardent protector. In January, she replied to an Instagram Q&A in which an individual disparaged her sister, labeling her a clown. Amanda was not on amicable terms with Tammy or Amy, yet she still chose to voice her opinion. Amanda may physically confront her siblings, but she establishes boundaries when others intervene. The star of 1,000 Pound Sisters has emphasized that familial disputes differ significantly from external criticism. Amanda's loyalty is the reason she has garnered a devoted fan base. Regardless of personal feelings towards her, she consistently supports her own, particularly when others attempt to undermine them. Greetings, esteemed viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina, and I hope your day is going splendidly. If you like the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel.